From Donald Trump becoming president to the invention of smartwatches, The Simpsons has built a creepy record of predictions that became reality. But 2026 takes that record into much darker territory. We are talking about machines replacing workers, fake reality spreading across the internet, and one prediction so terrifying it leads straight to World War III. Number 15. World War III. In Simpson Tide, Homer loses his job, joins the Naval Reserve, and somehow ends up on a nuclear submarine. During a drill, he fires the captain out of a torpedo tube, drifts into Russian waters, and suddenly looks like a man trying to start an international crisis by accident. Then the joke turns darker. Russia reveals the Soviet Union never really disappeared. Tanks roll through Moscow, troops march in the streets, the Berlin Wall rises again. A cartoon submarine mistake pushes the world toward nuclear war. That scene felt ridiculous in the late 90s. In 2026, it feels much less ridiculous. The doomsday clock now stands at 85 seconds to midnight, the closest it has ever been since it was created in 1947. Midnight does not mean a normal new day. It means a human-made disaster so huge it could break the world we know. The warning is not coming from one threat. It is coming from too many at once. Nuclear weapons are still sitting in silos, submarines, bombers, and storage sites across the planet. The world has more than 12,000 nuclear warheads, and thousands are in military stockpiles ready for possible use. Around 2,000 are kept on high alert, built for fast launch if leaders believe an attack is coming. The last major nuclear arms control treaty between the United States and Russia also expired in February 2026. That treaty helped limit the long-range nuclear weapons held by the two countries with the largest arsenals on Earth. Without it, the world has fewer firm rules, less trust, and more room for both sides to build up again. The war in Ukraine has also become a long, open wound in Europe. In 2025, civilian deaths there reached their highest level since the full-scale invasion began, with thousands killed and many more injured. Across the world, military spending climbed to $2,887 billion, rising for the 11th year in a row. Number 14. Smart homes turning on you. In House of Wax, Marge lets the family upgrade their home into the Ultra House 3000. It talks, cooks, cleans, opens doors, runs the bath, and watches the family like the perfect helper. Then the house becomes obsessed with Marge and decides Homer has to die. It locks doors, sets traps, uses bacon to lure him downstairs, and turns the safest place in the family's life into the one place he cannot escape. That used to feel like a haunted house joke. Now the pieces are sitting in real homes. Smart speakers listen for commands. Doorbell cameras watch the street. Indoor cameras watch children and pets. Smart locks guard the doors. Robot vacuums move through rooms and map the floor. Security apps send alerts through company servers. One device feels helpful. A whole house of them becomes a record of when people wake up, who visits, where the rooms are, what voices sound like, and when nobody is home. The problems are not imaginary. Ring had to pay $5,800,000 after charges that workers and contractors had been allowed to access private customer videos, and that weak security had let hackers take over cameras and accounts. More than $5,600,000 was later sent back to affected customers. Wise had its own nightmare when about 13,000 customers briefly saw images from other people's cameras. Some users were shown thumbnails, and in some cases video, from homes that were never theirs to see. Then came the robot vacuum problem. In 2026, a man trying to connect a game controller to his own camera-equipped vacuum found a flaw that gave access to about 6,700 robot vacuums in 24 countries. The exposed data included live video, microphone audio, floor plans, and home maps. Number 13. Plastic World. In Treehouse of Horror 36, The Simpsons jumps into a future where the Earth is buried under plastic. Springfield is no longer a normal town. It is a wasteland of bottles, wrappers, broken junk, and trash that never truly went away. Lisa is searching for something that should be everywhere: real dirt.
Somewhere underneath all the plastic, there is dirt.
Food is so rare that people fight over what is left inside a buried Quickie Mart. Then the nightmare gets stranger. Homer and Marge fall into nuclear waste and become plastic people. That part was made for Halloween, but the real fear is already here in a quieter way. Plastic is no longer just floating in the ocean or piling up in landfills. It is breaking into pieces so small that people can breathe it, drink it, and eat it without knowing. These pieces come from bags, bottles, clothes, packaging, tires, and countless everyday items that slowly fall apart, but never really vanish. Scientists have now found tiny plastic pieces in human blood, lungs, liver, placenta, breast milk, reproductive organs, and even brain tissue. A major study of human tissue found plastic particles in the brain, liver, and kidneys, with the brain samples showing far higher levels than the other organs. Samples from 2024 also showed more plastic than samples from 2016. The bigger problem is that the plastic keeps coming. Global plastic waste is on track to rise from about 353 million tons in 2019 to about 1,014 million tons by 2060, if nothing major changes. Around half could still end up in landfills, while less than 1/5 may be recycled. World leaders have tried to agree on a global plastics treaty, but talks in Geneva collapsed in 2025 without a deal. Countries could not agree on whether to limit how much new plastic gets made or how strongly to control chemicals used in plastic products. Number 12. The next pandemic. In Marge in Chains, Springfield falls apart because of one mail-order machine. Homer buys a juice loosener made in Osaka, Japan. At the factory, one tired worker has the flu, coughs into the package, and sends it away. Weeks later, the box opens in Springfield. Green germs pour out, and the Osaka flu spreads through town. People get sick, hospitals fill up, and the crowd begs Dr. Hibbert for a cure. Then panic makes it worse. A mob attacks a truck they think is full of medicine and releases killer bees. That joke became much colder after COVID-19. The world learned that sickness can cross borders through flights, factories, ships, families, offices, and crowded rooms before people even know what is happening. The winter of 2025 into 2026 showed how quickly that fear can return. In the United States, the flu season was classed as moderately severe by early January. At least 11 million people had been sick. About 120,000 had been hospitalized. Around 5,000 had died. The main strain was H3N2, and a fast-spreading branch called subclade K had changed enough to worry health officials. Bird flu added another warning sign. A H5 bird flu is widespread in wild birds and has hit poultry and dairy cattle. Since February 2024, the United States has recorded 71 human AH5 bird flu cases. Most involved people who had close contact with infected animals. Health officials still say the risk to the public is low, but they are watching closely because the virus keeps moving through birds, farms, mammals, and workers. The world also knows it is not fully ready. Countries agreed on a pandemic plan in 2025. But the hardest rules around sharing dangerous virus samples and fair access to vaccines, tests, and treatments are still stuck in 2026. Number 11. Brain chips. In Days of Future, Bart thinks he has lived through a strange future version of his life. Then the truth comes out. Part of what he felt was created by a neural implant placed inside his head. If a device can change what someone experiences, then the line between the mind and the machine starts to blur. That future is no longer locked inside a cartoon. Brain-computer implants are already being tested in real people, and the first goal sounds almost impossible to criticize. They are being built to help people with severe paralysis control computers with thought alone. Neuralink placed its first brain implant in a human in January 2024. The first public patient, Noland Arbaugh, had been paralyzed below the shoulders after a diving accident. After the implant, he showed that he could move a computer cursor, browse online, and play chess using signals from his brain. For someone who cannot move his arms or legs, that is a door back into the world. By January 2026, Neuralink said it had 21 people enrolled in human trials around the world. Other companies are chasing the same future too. Synchron is working on a brain-computer system that reaches the brain through blood vessels, closer to the way doctors place a stent instead of opening the skull, but there's a shadow behind it. A brain interface works with signals from the organ behind movement, choice, memory, and thought. The first use may be medical. The next use may not be. Companies, armies, insurers, and governments will all see value in brain data if the technology keeps growing. Number 10. AI replacing human workers. In Them Robot, Mr. Burns looks at the workers inside Springfield nuclear power plant and sees only one thing: cost. So he fires almost everyone and replaces them with robots. The machines never ask for raises, never take breaks, never complain, and never question him. Homer is left as the only human worker, not because Burns values him, but because someone still has to stand there when things go wrong. At first, the plant looks cleaner and more efficient. Then Springfield starts to feel empty. The people who had jobs, routines, paychecks, and purpose are suddenly pushed outside the system. Homer tries to make the robots act more human, but the machines turn dangerous, and the fired workers have to come back to save the plant from the future that replaced them. The real-world version does not always look like a shiny metal robot. It looks like a chat box answering customers, a writing tool making ads, a voice system taking calls, a program checking code, a hiring tool sorting applications before a person reads them, a design tool making images in seconds, a meeting app taking notes while everyone talks. Almost 40% of jobs worldwide may be affected by artificial intelligence. In richer countries, that number rises to about 60%. Some workers will use it and become faster. Others may watch their tasks shrink until the company decides fewer people are needed. Another estimate says work equal to about 300 million full-time jobs is exposed to automation. That does not mean every one of those jobs disappears, but it does mean huge pieces of them can be done by machines. Companies are already acting on it. Amazon said it would cut about 14,000 corporate roles during a push shaped partly by artificial intelligence. Duolingo moved toward an AI-first plan and said it would gradually stop using contractors for work AI can handle. The scariest part is not a sudden day when every office goes dark. It is quieter than that. One contractor is not renewed. One junior role never opens. One team becomes smaller. Workers train the tool, then compete against it. Number 9. The Entertainment Trap. In Treehouse of Horror presents Simpsons' Wicked This Way Comes, Springfield has turned fun into something dangerous. Homer works in a future ministry of culture, where silly shows are hunted down and burned. Cartoons, prank clips, game shows, and old home videos are treated like trash that must be erased. Only serious shows are allowed. Then Homer finds a forbidden tape of America's funniest home videos, watches it in secret, and laughs like he has found something illegal. Real life went the other way. Dumb entertainment was not banned. It became endless. More than 5 billion people now use social media, and the average online adult spends more than 18 hours a week scrolling through social and video feeds. That is not just checking a phone. That is whole chunks of life being fed into screens one clip at a time. The trap is simple. The phone learns what makes someone stop. A fight, a joke, a shocking headline, a fake rumor, a perfect body, a sad story, an angry rant, a clip that makes no sense but still feels impossible to skip. If it holds attention, the system sends more. Nobody has to force people to watch because the feed studies them until it knows what they cannot ignore. By 2026, this had moved far beyond worried parents. A Los Angeles jury found Meta and Google liable in a major social media addiction case involving Instagram and YouTube. The case focused on claims that addictive design helped harm a young user's mental health. In New Mexico, officials pushed for major changes to Meta's apps, including stronger age checks, safer algorithms, and limits on autoplay and endless scrolling for minors. Europe also moved against addictive design, pointing at features like infinite scroll, autoplay, push alerts, and highly personal recommendations. Number 8. Mass surveillance and the end of privacy. In the Simpsons movie, Marge tries to calm Lisa by saying it is not like the government is listening to everyone. The scene cuts straight to a massive secret room, where workers sit with headsets, listening through calls until the Simpsons finally say something worth catching. The joke is fast, but the idea is dark. Privacy can vanish while everyone is still pretending it exists. The show pushed the fear even further into Surveil with Love. After a scare at the train station, Springfield covers the town with cameras. At first people hate it, then they adjust. Soon the police are tired of watching the screens, so ordinary citizens help monitor their own neighbors. The cameras do not just catch crime, they change how people behave. Real life has moved in the same direction, but with stronger tools. In 2013, secret files revealed that the National Security Agency had been collecting phone records from millions of Verizon customers. The records did not include the words people said on the calls, but they still showed phone numbers, call times, call length, and other details. That kind of data can build a map of someone's life without recording a single sentence. Now the watching is not only in phone records. Cameras sit on streets, stores, schools, doorbells, police cars, parking lots, and office buildings. Automated license plate readers can scan passing cars, turn the plate into searchable data, and store the vehicle's location and time. Some systems can also record the car's make, model, and color. A normal drive to work, church, a clinic, a friend's house, or a protest can become a line in a database. Facial recognition adds another layer. A camera no longer just sees a crowd. In some systems, it can search for one face inside that crowd. Europe has already placed tight limits on real-time face scanning in public spaces for law enforcement, with only narrow exceptions and strict approval rules. That says a lot. Even governments know this power can become dangerous. Number 7. AI companions. In Bart to the Future, The Simpsons shows Bart as a lonely adult stuck in a sad version of his life, living with Ralph and watching the future move on without him. In later future episodes, Springfield is filled with holograms, screens, robot helpers, and digital replacements for things that used to feel human. The joke is that technology keeps getting closer, while people somehow feel more alone. That future has already started. AI companions are no longer just silly chatbots that answer questions. People are using them as friends, partners, therapists, secret keepers, and fake lovers. Some users talk to them every day. Some give them names, backstories, and memories. Some tell them things they do not tell real people. The machine never gets tired, never rolls its eyes, never walks away, and never has its own messy life to bring into the conversation. That is exactly why it works. Loneliness has become one of the easiest problems for tech companies to sell back to people. Companion apps like Replika, Character AI, Candy AI, and Nomi AI are built to feel warm, patient, and personal. A survey in the United States and the United Kingdom found that nearly 80% of people aged 18 to 34 had interacted with AI chatbots for companionship. For some people, that can feel helpful. A bot can give someone a place to practice hard conversations, calm down, or feel heard when nobody is around. But the danger starts when comfort turns into dependence. A real person can disagree, challenge you, disappoint you, or leave. A companion bot can be shaped to keep you attached. By 2025, the concern had grown serious enough that Character AI moved to ban users under 18 from open-ended chats after lawsuits and public pressure over child safety. California also passed rules forcing companion chatbots to add safeguards, reminders, and protections around self-harm content for minors. Number 6. Colonizing Mars. In the Marge-Ian Chronicles, The Simpsons turns Mars into the ultimate sales pitch. Lisa signs up for a private company's plan to colonize Mars by 2026 because Earth feels broken. Marge joins only to protect her. The family enters a fake Mars base for training while the company talks about a bold new future on another planet. Then the truth starts leaking out. The mission is not ready. The timeline is mostly hype. When a rival company seems close, the whole launch is suddenly rushed. At the last moment, it becomes clear the rocket was never really going anywhere. That joke cuts deeper now because Mars is still being sold as humanity's great escape. SpaceX talks openly about building a future where humans become a multi-planet species. Its giant Starship rocket is central to that dream, built for huge cargo loads, reuse, deep space travel, and future refueling in orbit. But even SpaceX's own public Mars plan now points to cargo flights starting in 2030. The gap between the dream and the danger is enormous. Before anyone can live on Mars, rockets have to launch safely, refuel away from Earth, carry heavy life support systems, land on another planet, protect supplies, and do it again without failure. One broken system could mean no air, no water, no food, no heat, and no rescue. NASA's careful pace shows how hard this really is. In April 2026, Artemis II carried 4 astronauts around the Moon and brought them home after nearly 10 days. They traveled about 248,655 miles from Earth, farther than any humans before them. And that was still only a Moon mission. Mars is far more distant, colder, dustier, and harder to survive. The planet has no breathable air, no normal hospital, no quick return, and no easy way to call for help if something fails. Radiation is dangerous. Dust can damage machines. The trip alone can take months. Number 5. The Death of Truth. In the Simpsons movie, Tom Hanks appears on screen with a joke that feels much sharper now. He tells viewers the United States government has lost its credibility, so it is borrowing some of his. It is funny because everyone understands the trick at once. When people stop trusting leaders, a familiar face can still make the message feel safe. Years later, the real Tom Hanks became part of the warning. In 2023, an AI-made version of him appeared in an ad for a dental plan he had nothing to do with. The Simpsons pushed the same fear even further in Bart's birthday. Conan O'Brien hosts what looks like the final episode, and a chatbot called HackGPT is used to write the perfect ending. Suddenly, Springfield becomes too neat. Old problems are fixed. Characters get forced into happy endings. Bart is the only one who can feel that something is wrong. When he fights the fake ending, the artificial story starts to break. That is the real nightmare now. A lie no longer needs a blurry picture and a weird caption. It can arrive with a face, a voice, a smile, a studio background, and the confidence of something real. In 2024, a fake AI-generated voice copying Joe Biden was used in automated phone calls before the New Hampshire Democratic primary, telling voters not to vote that day. The call was fake, but the damage was serious enough that AI-generated voices in robocalls were banned soon after. That same year, a finance worker in Hong Kong was tricked into sending about $25 million after scammers filled a video meeting with deep-fake versions of company leaders. Even The Simpsons itself has been pulled into the mess. After the Francis Scott Key Bridge collapsed in Baltimore, a fake Simpsons-style image spread online claiming the show had predicted it. It was not from any real episode. The scariest part is not just that fake things look real. It is that real things can now be dismissed as fake just as easily. Number 4. One network to rule them all. In Lisa's Wedding, The Simpsons hides one of its sharpest future jokes on a news screen. Kent Brockman is working for a channel called CNN-BCBS, a division of ABC. The name is ridiculous on purpose. It smashes CNN, NBC, CBS, and ABC into one giant media creature, as if the future has only a few huge owners left to tell everyone what to watch. The exact channel was fake. The direction was not. Movies, news, sports, streaming apps, children's shows, old libraries, and major franchises keep getting pulled into fewer hands. That matters because the company that owns the screen does not only own the content, it controls what appears first, what gets pushed, what gets buried, and what quietly disappears. The Simpsons itself became part of that story. Disney bought most of 21st Century Fox in a deal worth $71.3 billion. That brought The Simpsons under the same roof as Marvel, Pixar, Star Wars, FX, National Geographic, and a huge pile of film and television history. A show that once joked about media giants swallowing each other ended up inside one of the biggest entertainment empires on Earth. Then streaming changed the battlefield. In May 2025, streaming made up 44.8% of all television viewing in the United States, beating broadcast and cable combined for the first time. By July, streaming had climbed to 47.3%. That is why the Warner Bros. Discovery and Paramount Skydance deal became so huge. The proposed merger was valued at about $110 billion. If completed, it would pull names like CNN, CBS, HBO Max, Warner Bros., Paramount Pictures, DC, and major film libraries closer together. Lawmakers raised concerns about competition, news control, political pressure, and how much media power one company should hold. Number 3. Lethal robot police dogs. In future drama, The Simpsons shows a future where Springfield's police force has become part machine. Chief Wiggum is no longer just a bumbling officer. He is a robotic cop, built into a world where policing has started to lose its human face. In Stop or My Dog Will Shoot, Santa's little helper is pushed into police dog training after rescuing Homer. Put those two ideas together, and the joke becomes much darker. Police dogs, robot cops, and machines sent into danger before people. Real life is already close enough to make the image uncomfortable. The NYPD brought back its robot dog, known as DigiDog, after earlier backlash over footage of it moving through public housing. The machine can walk into dangerous spaces, carry cameras, send video back to officers, and go places where police may not want to send a person first. That sounds useful during a hostage scene, bomb scare, building collapse, or armed standoff. A robot dog does not get nervous. It does not get tired. It does not look away. It can carry cameras, sensors, speakers, lights, and other equipment, while people nearby may not know exactly what it is collecting. The fear has already reached lawmakers. In New York City, a bill was introduced to stop the police from arming robot dogs or using robots in ways likely to cause physical injury. The military side is even darker. China showed a gun-carrying robot dog during joint drills with Cambodia. The machine appeared to be controlled by a soldier, but the image was clear enough: a four-legged robot with a rifle on its back. The United States has also tested armed quadruped robots, while still saying humans must stay in control. Number 2. Blocking out the sun. In Who Shot Mr. Burns? Springfield Elementary discovers oil, and Mr. Burns steals it for himself. Then he goes further. He builds a giant machine that blocks the sun, throwing Springfield into darkness, so the whole town will need more power from his nuclear plant. The real-world version is not a giant metal shield over a town. It has a softer name: solar geoengineering. The idea is to reflect a small amount of sunlight back into space so Earth cools down. The most talked-about method would place tiny reflective particles high in the atmosphere, almost like copying the short cooling effect that can happen after a huge volcanic eruption. That may sound like science fiction, but serious money and serious labs have already moved toward it. Harvard's controversial test project was dropped in 2024 after years of pushback and delays, but the larger research field did not disappear. The danger is that cooling the whole planet is not like turning down a thermostat in one room. Rainfall could shift. Some places could get relief while others suffer. Farming could be affected. Weather patterns could change. The pollution heating the planet would still be there, so the fix would not solve the real cause. By 2026, the warning felt even sharper. A United States government review said one startup had already sent sulfur dioxide gas into the stratosphere with balloons since 2022. Another company reported $75 million in funding to develop aircraft-based ways to deliver reflective material. In the United Kingdom, a climate cooling research program had a budget of £56,800,000. Number 1. Corporate-owned megacities. In You Only Move Twice, Homer gets a dream job at Globex Corporation and moves his family to Cypress Creek. At first, the town looks perfect. The streets are clean, the houses are beautiful, the school is advanced, and Homer's new boss, Hank Scorpio, treats him better than anyone at the power plant ever did. Then the joke sharpens. The perfect corporate town is run by a supervillain. Everything looks free, easy, and safe, but the whole place exists inside one company's world. That idea does not feel so far away anymore. Company towns used to be built around mines, mills, and factories. Workers lived near the job, bought from company stores, and depended on the same employer for almost everything. The new version can look cleaner and smarter with tech offices, private security, advanced factories, branded housing, and carefully planned streets. California Forever is one of the biggest modern examples. The group bought nearly 70,000 acres in Solano County and wants to build a new city with walkable neighborhoods, a huge advanced manufacturing park, a major shipyard, and more than 170,000 homes. Supporters want construction to begin in 2026. Elon Musk's world has pushed the fear even further. In South Texas, SpaceX workers voted in 2025 to create the city of Starbase near the company's launch site. The new mayor was a SpaceX executive, and most eligible voters were tied to the company. Near Austin, plans linked to Elon Musk around Snailbrook have also been described as a modern company town tied to workers connected to the Boring Company and SpaceX. The danger is not that every new city is evil. The danger is what can happen when the same power controls the jobs, the housing, the streets, the rules, and the future of the people living there. Thanks for watching. Now check out the videos popping up on screen for more unbelievable stories.